Sergeant, can I ask a practical question, or at least confirm what I do?
Yes.
Just this morning, I get a message from Google that they want to confirm my phone number because that's how they can help me rescue my. I don't do any of that stuff anymore.
All right.
Am I correct?
I'm
assuming I am.
I know where I'm going with this, because the next thing we were going to talk about is what we can do, how we can stop and start helping. Rather than stopping, we need to start helping. And one of the first things is, how many of us have these in our pockets right now? How many of you can turn off the microphone on your phone? I doubt it. There are exactly 0 phones on the market right now where you can turn off the microphone. You have an old phone?
I have a flip phone.
A flip phone? I was going to say, the only security you have is if you don't have a smartphone. Now, here's the thing though, is we need these, right? We need these with us all the time.
Not really.
Oh, by the way, I hate cell phones. They listen to you 24/7. How many of you have assistant at home? Google Home, or Amazon Alexa, or use Siri on your phone, or the Google thing? You know what? Those listen to you 100% of the time. How else can they respond?
So even when your phone is turned completely off?
If it is completely off, you're safe. That's it. Because when it's off, it can't pick up anything.
You mean power off?
Yeah. Powered off entirely, yes.
They can hear it through your smart TVs as well. Right?
Smart TVs, your home assistants, any of that. Because they all have microphones listed or on them.
There is a website you can go to though where you can hear or see what they've actually recorded. There's a story on NPR about it a couple of months ago.
I saw that and I tried to get to the site and I actually could not get the site to load.
Was that bad?
No.
Yeah.
It may have been. Yeah. It's actually, there's a pretty good possibility it was. Be aware of your surroundings. Because if you're at someone's home and they have a device like that, be aware that it's listening. Mind you, almost all of them, you can turn off the microphone of those home assistants, but you can't turn off other people's phones. Have any of you noticed that while you're talking about something with a friend, suddenly you start getting ads on your phone when you're scrolling through Facebook about what you were just talking about?
Right. Crazy.
You are not going crazy. That's monetization.
Right.
We are all data points.
I read an article the other day that said that if you carry your phone into a store, there are devices now that are monitoring where you're stopping, what you pick up.
So there are, yes, because we're opening a big can here, because largely what we really have to look at is your personal habits rather than anything else. With your phone, the fastest way you can make it so you aren't tracked as easily is turn off location services. But when you do that, you can't use a GPS.
You can turn that back on and off.
You can turn it on and off, yes, but that's an extra step, and most people don't want to take it. And think about all these kids now. These kids just keep it on all the time. They turn on their GPS to go to the store that they've been at 1,000 times. They're not. Maybe it's just me, but if I drive somewhere once, I can get back there without any assistance. I drive down to Saginaw, go to the VA hospital. I don't need directions. I went there once with a map, and this was before I had a GPS or a smartphone or anything. And now I can get back there without even thinking about it. I know right where to go to get there.
You're checking traffic, right?
Huh?
You're checking traffic.
Checking traffic. Yeah. So, all of us have cell phones. You have to be aware more of what you can do, though. But that fake news is super important also, because we have to be able to tell how and what is this facetious news that we're seeing. Don't just read the headlines. Yeah.
Can you disable Siri?
You can disable Siri, and I recommend that to any iPhone user to disable Siri, and if you have an Android phone, to disable your Google Assistant on that also, which you can do through your settings.
I think it's a good idea to go through settings and unactivate everything.
Yeah. If you can't identify what exactly something is needed for, turn it off.
Right.
I tell that to my students and they're like, well, we can't do that. That's needed for such and such. Well, no, it isn't. You just want to use it because it's convenience.
And there's just in the past few days after the last update on my phone, now I get a box up that'll say XYZ has been using your location. Do you want to let it go or only when you're using the app? The latter of which I am choosing. So my little ways of thumbing my nose at them.
Yes, yeah, and that's good. And you had to be a smart user. Because again, you own your data. No one else owns your data. You own your data. You get to limit when and where you are going to give that data out. But fake news, because it affects all of us, is something that we all have to be aware of. And I love telling my students, my impressionable college students, what fake news actually is and how to check for it. Do you just read the headlines or do you actually read the article? Step one, read the article. Because so many people get the news just from reading a headline and they base their entire beliefs off of what they read in headlines.
You know, as far as political action is concerned, you know, there are these things that we can do personally. I just asked the gentleman next to me here, who's an attorney, whether the U.S.-based social media like Facebook are licensed by the government to operate. And he said no, which is what I thought was probably the case anyhow. But, you know, even for television stations and radio stations, they are licensed to operate by the government, and they're licensed specifically to operate in the public interest. So about 10, 15 years ago, I emailed the head of the FCC and asked him if any radio station or a television station had ever lost its, failed to get its license renewed as a result of not operating in the public interest. Has that ever happened?
Not to my knowledge.
And what I asked him, and if not, why not? The answer I got back was, no, it never has happened. And the reason is that Congress specifically forbids it from happening.
So why even have an FCC?
So it's a joke. In other words, it's a joke.
Yeah. It's just to make the people
It's in the
feel
licensing agreement. Those sorts of things, you know, need to change. Another thing, of course, that we no longer have is the requirement that we used to have that news be balanced. You know, that was changed during the Reagan administration.
Yeah, that was changed during Reagan and
Fairness doctrine. The fairness doctrine.
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what that was. Yeah.
So the fake news site list, that's by Facebook or Google?
This list was actually aggregated by neither of them. This was PolitiFact
PolitiFact.
had this list.
Why not have some entity, Facebook, Google, or PolitiFact, give certification to valid news sites so that when you want to get news, you can look for, like charities get certified by Charity Navigator, BBC entities get.
The big reason why that won't happen is because the internet is global, and you know we have a hard enough time reaching other countries for entertainment purposes. There's the NFL plays 1 or 2 games a year in England now, and that took 12 years of work to make happen because of the legality issues between the two. And that's the NFL, which is the probably the second largest purveyor of entertainment on the face of the planet. So being able to have some entity, say, PolitiFact, be able to contact the host countries for these sites and or any sites.
If you're going to advertise in the U.S. on like Facebook and throw ads at people, then I would suggest that you get and it's voluntary. If that you want to get approval from Facebook that you are an authentic.
I think that would be great, but again, Facebook is in business for making money,
Or Google.
and if they have to do that, and Google, last I checked, was like $320 a share. So they're in business to make money also, you know, and that's why when you do a Google search, the first few links that you always see are sponsored links, because those are people that pay
Well,
that.
users demand it. Users say, hey,
If
we
users
wanna
demand
know,
it, it will change.
will you take the time to certify
Yeah.
sites that we can rely on for authentic news?
That would be nice.
Just be a matter of time until there's.
Well, we like to think that, but and every news agency has some political bias to it. So where do you draw the line on what's accurate and
Well,
what's
some
political
are
pandering?
so obviously not accurate.
Well, we know that, but the whole thing is when you're a corporation, you're in business to make money. They don't care as much because it's about money, not about truth. And that's what it all boils down to, is it's all about money. And you know, we have such a hard time differentiating between I'm doing this to make money or I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. And when you're talking about a corporation, there is no doing it because it's the right thing. It's about, this is what I'm doing to make money. So, spotting falsehoods, spreading facts. Read beyond the headline. You know, I'm hoping all of us at this point don't just look at a headline and say, okay, that's it. That's all I'm using to base my entire opinion on. We're going to actually read the articles. Biggest one, and this happened while I was working on this, all these states banning flavored vapes. Why? Based on 800 people dying from it. But if you read the articles, all the deaths have been attributed to people vaping THC, not flavored nicotine. Not all, almost all, across the board. And that's 800. In that same time frame, how many people died from cancer from smoking cigarettes? Yeah. So, you know, and that happened while I was working on this. So,
25% of high school students are now vaping.
would you rather they smoke? When I was in high school, I smoked.
You know what? They weren't smoking either.
I know. Check the author, that byline that we